Cavell House, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, February 10, 1873. Dear Aunt Eva, there is so much to tell you. My, what a weekend this has been. But first let me say that I hope you are feeling better. You must take care of yourself. We arrived on Friday around dusk at the train station in Pittsburgh. I rode the entire trip in the dining car under the watchful eye of the good and talented Mr. Willis. My sweet James was there to meet us along with Joshua, his driver. I was a bit anxious about everything until I saw his face. My sweet James just glowed, and everything disappeared as I felt his great embrace. My first look at Pittsburgh was at night from the carriage to Cavell House. It was dark and glittery, quite beautiful and a bit intimidating. The talented Mr. Willis sat with Joshua in the driver's seat, while James and I held hands and rode through the streets of Pittsburgh in near silence, speaking very little, just happy to be together. As we arrived at Cavell House, my sweet James sensed my apprehension. He whispered in my ear,
"Don't worry, my dear. She's going to love you."
The carriage came to a stop under a large portico. Almost immediately after we stepped from the carriage, the large door opened, and Katie, their dear, sweet house girl, called to James. It was then I heard her clear and strong Irish accent. Mother Cavell was waiting with James's Aunt Sina in a front parlor. They rose from their chairs as we entered the room, and I was struck at how tiny each of them were. James is so tall, and with my unusual height, we seemed to tower over them. It somehow made the meeting less intimidating. James's mother, Constance, was very gracious, if a bit withheld. His Aunt Sina was quite the opposite. At our introduction, she smiled broadly and withheld nothing. She grabbed me, kissed both cheeks, embraced me with arms as strong as any man's, and I wondered for a bit if she would let me go. She was excited and seemed to speak incessantly, although I'm not quite sure what all she was speaking about. However, it was most telling when she stopped speaking abruptly at the quiet mention of her name by Mother Cavell. It wasn't until Mother Cavell scolded James for not using his cane that I understood why he had been walking so carefully. It seems he was injured in an accident last month while visiting the construction site of a future incline. Although he did sit at her request, he insisted that this cane was no longer necessary. They discussed this for a moment, but could only disagree. Mother Cavell turned to me and asked my opinion. It seemed very quiet for a moment. "My dear, sweet James, I think you should listen to your mother. If the cane is what will help you to heal and be strong, then I should use it if I were you. I should be most disappointed if you are unable to dance with me at our engagement party, and I should think Aunt Sina and Mother Cavell would feel likewise deprived." He smiled at me and asked Katie to bring him his cane. Mother Cavell thanked me for my support and offered to show me to my quarters herself. She was very gracious. After getting settled in my room, we sat for a late meal. The food was quite good, and the conversation was mostly about you. Aunt Sina was most disappointed that you would not be with us. She was so sweet. She declared that she was still going to announce to all who arrived at the party that you were also an official hostess, only you were unable to be present due to your illness. She was so looking forward to meeting you, and, I dare say, becoming friends. I have assured her there will be time for that in the future. She has such a good heart. Cavell house is quite stately. A large, rambling home, but with a warm feel decorated in the current fashion. Some of the furniture is quite old and clearly from Europe. My room is large and has an abundant number of windows. I have learned that Mother Cavell did not choose this room for me, feeling it might be too cold with all the windows, but it seems my sweet James insisted, knowing how I do like the light in the mornings. The concern and attention from both of them is heartening. Your room is quite delightful. I'm sure you will like it when you visit, and we will all hope that is soon. Saturday, we talked about the arrangements for the party later this week. It is truly a joy to watch Aunt Sina as she prepares. This is bringing her much delight. It seems there will be quite a number of guests at this engagement party. The Cavells seem to know all of Pittsburgh from the way that I hear them speak. I hope that I don't feel too out of place. I have decided not to show anyone my dress for the evening. I should like it to be a surprise for all. Mother Cavell and Aunt Sina both like the hats we created for them. They were both most effusive in their appreciation. They wore them to church on Sunday and were admired by many. Mother Cavell took to introducing me to many of her church members. She was really most gracious. Mother Cavell readily shared with friends that the hats she and Aunt Sina were wearing were from me. However, I did notice that she always referred to the hats as a gift. She never let on to anyone that we created them. It was interesting. I must think on what this means. I miss you. I do so wish you were here with me. My life is changing. I just can't imagine it changing without you. I wish you were here. All my love, your niece, Anne. P.S. This is a very interesting town. I think I might become accustomed to it quite well, save the dirt. Be well.